Chosen one, pause for a moment. Because what is moving around your life no longer belongs to the former season, and the days that seemed filled only with silence are beginning to return to you. A meaning you could not see before. I, Michael, know that you traveled through many stages, feeling as though you were walking alone. As if every effort disappeared into emptiness, every prayer was being withheld, and every faithful act went unnoticed. Yet, my beloved child, none of it was forgotten. There are times when heaven does not answer with an obvious sign, not because you have been turned away, but because certain works can be completed only in silence. A seed makes no sound while it takes root, yet within that darkness it is preparing the strength to break through the earth. You are the same. What others called delay, I used as time to build your foundation. What you once considered being overlooked, I transformed into a place where endurance was refined. What appeared to obstruct you was actually separating you from roads no longer aligned with the future being prepared. I know there were moments when fear spoke louder than every remaining measure of faith. It told you that you would never escape your circumstances, that closed doors would never open again, and that while others moved forward, you would remain in the same place. Yet amid those voices, you continued. You still awakened, completed your responsibilities, cared for those who needed you, and tried to keep your heart from becoming bitter. There were days when you did not feel strong, yet you still chose not to surrender. There were nights when tears fell in silence, but the next morning you rose again, with a courage you did not understand. I want you to know that this endurance spoke on your behalf. It revealed not only the depth of your pain, but also the existence of something within you that could not easily be broken. That very strength is bringing you toward a new threshold. Every time you chose calmness instead of retaliation, an old place within you was healed. Every time you refused to return to what had exhausted you, a new doorway was constructed. Every time you rejected another person's attempt to determine your worth, you reclaimed a portion of the power you had once surrendered. These choices may have made no noise, but they changed the direction of your life. You once believed that only great decisions could create a turning point. Yet often it is the small choices, repeated faithfully, that produce the deepest transformation. You learned not to react immediately to every insult. You learned to step back from useless arguments. You learned that not everyone who leaves represents a loss, and not every open door is a blessing. This discernment is evidence that you are no longer the person of former seasons. I also saw the moments when no one understood how difficult your choices were. There were times when you could have answered betrayal with betrayal, but you refused. There were times when darkness offered you an easier road, promising that everything would become lighter if you abandoned integrity. Yet you preserved the goodness within you. You did not do this to receive praise, nor because you were certain a reward would come. You simply understood that if you lost yourself in order to win a battle, the victory would no longer have meaning. I saw that decision. I saw you remain silent, not because you were weak, but because you understood that certain words, once spoken, leave wounds that last. I saw you walk away from a place that was no longer safe, even while something within you wanted to return, because it was familiar. I saw you forgive, not so that another person could continue harming you, but so that your heart would not remain bound to the past. Your season is changing now, but this change does not mean that every difficulty will disappear overnight. What is ending first is the authority of former things over your mind. Fear may still appear, but it no longer controls every choice. Doubt may still speak, but you have learned not to treat it as the final truth. Those who wounded you may still fail to understand you, but you no longer need their recognition in order to possess peace. This is the recognition I want you to receive. Not applause from the world, but inner clarity that you have grown. That what once destroyed you no longer possesses the same power to pull you down. You do not need to prove the change through words. The way you live will speak for you. Soon, you may begin noticing that certain things become clearer. A relationship that once confused, you may reveal its true nature. A door that remained silent may open in an unexpected way. An idea you once dismissed may return with renewed life. Someone who previously failed to see you may begin recognizing the value you carry. Yet I remind you not to place all your hope in outward manifestations. The most important movement remains what is happening within you. If an opportunity arrives but requires you to betray your peace, it is not what you need. If recognition comes but causes you to become dependent upon the eyes of others, remain alert. What belongs to the new season will not require you to return to your former self in order to keep it, my beloved child. Understand that recognition is not given to place you above others, but to entrust you with a deeper responsibility in the way you live. You know the experience of being overlooked. So when you have the power to notice another person, do not repeat what caused you pain. You know the loneliness of difficult seasons, so when you encounter someone who is vulnerable, do not judge them hastily. You know the pain of betrayal, so honor your word and live faithfully. What you endured becomes meaningful only when it makes you more compassionate without taking away discernment, stronger without making you harsh, and humbler even as you begin to be seen. I do not want you to continue living as though every day were a test. Certain lessons are complete. There are doors you do not need to reopen. There are judgments you no longer need to carry. Lay down the need to prove yourself to those who once doubted you. If you construct your future only to make them regret their treatment of you, you are still giving them too much authority. Move forward because you understand that you are called to live an upright, peaceful, and useful life. Let your results become a testimony of perseverance rather than a weapon of retaliation. The deepest freedom arrives when you no longer need another person to admit their wrongdoing before you can continue. Now look at the past through different eyes. Do not remember only the times you were wounded. Remember also the times you refused to let the wound turn you into someone else. Do not remember only the closed doors. Remember that you still found a way to continue. Do not remember only the silence. Recognize that within the quiet, you heard your inner voice more clearly than ever. You are no longer someone continually asking permission to live according to truth. You are learning to trust what you recognize, establish boundaries when necessary, and remain patient with the places still recovering. I, Michael, remind you that this is not the time to return because you fear what is new. Former seasons may feel familiar, but they are no longer the place prepared for you. Walk slowly if you need to, but do not walk backward. Rest when you are tired, but do not call rest failure. Seek help when needed, because growth does not mean that you must continue doing everything alone. What is opening will require your presence with a peaceful heart, a clear mind, and hands capable of preserving what is given. You have traveled far enough to understand that light is not found only after the storm ends. It is also revealed through the choices you make within the storm. Your hidden decisions were not meaningless. They formed the person standing here today. Therefore, lift your head and enter the new season without pride and without diminishing yourself. What was hidden is gradually becoming clear. What once caused pain is being transformed into wisdom. What once caused you to believe you were forgotten is now showing you that you were prepared more carefully than you understood. I am beside you, not to promise a road without challenges, but to remind you that you no longer face those challenges as the person you once were. My child, your journey became heavier, longer, and more unpredictable, not because heaven forgot you, but because what is being prepared for you requires a depth that an easy life could never create. Not everyone must travel through the same winding roads, because not everyone carries the same responsibility. Some people need only to learn how to pass through one season, but you are being taught how to remain, standing through many seasons joined together. Some are given one simple door, while you must be refined enough to distinguish the true door from the many things that merely resemble opportunity. For this reason, your road could not be built only upon convenience. It had to be deep enough to form wisdom, steadfastness, and the capacity to preserve what is entrusted when the time arrives. I know you still remember moments when everything appeared close to success, and then suddenly collapsed. You stood very near an outcome, saw signs that caused you to believe the waiting was ending, and then, within a short time, everything changed direction. Someone who promised to remain suddenly became distant. An opportunity you had prepared for, over many years, disappeared just before you could reach it. Certain plans appeared complete and then dissolved because of something beyond your control. This did more than disappoint you. It caused you to feel as though life itself had turned against you, as though peace continually approached, only to withdraw intentionally once again. Within the silence that followed each event, you wondered why your story had to repeat itself so painfully. You watched others enter what they desired, without struggling for so long, while you repeatedly had to rebuild from the beginning. You questioned whether you had done something wrong, whether you lacked value, or whether your prayers had been lost among countless other voices. I heard every question you never spoke aloud. I also saw how you continued awakening, completing what was before you, and preserving a small measure of hope even when your heart was repeatedly exhausted. You did not know that while you believed you were only surviving, a process of refinement was quietly taking place. What you called repeated loss was often repeated purification. Fire does not negotiate with weakness. It reveals the true nature of everything. What exists only through appearance cannot endure heat. A relationship built upon control cannot remain stable when you begin establishing boundaries. An opportunity requiring you to exchange integrity will reveal itself as pressure increases. Beliefs you once depended upon, but that lacked strength, will begin to fracture. When this occurs, you may feel that you are losing too much, but I want you to understand that what cannot walk with your future is being removed from your hands. You are not being destroyed. You are becoming purer in intention, clearer in your choices, and steadier in how you see yourself. Every experience removed something that no longer belonged. One removed the habit of believing words before observing actions. Another removed the fear of abandonment that once caused you to preserve people who did not truly value you. Another removed the need for everyone's agreement before you could move forward. Another forced you to release the image of a future that no longer suited you, so that you would possess enough space to recognize a different direction. The cost of this process was real, but its fruit is also becoming clearer within you. Each day, you are no longer easily persuaded by a beautiful promise alone. You no longer call instability passion or confuse intensity with sincerity. You learned to hear what remains unspoken. Observe how someone behaves when they do not receive what they want, and recognize the difference between an opportunity that helps you grow and one that merely empties you. This discernment could not be given through instruction alone. It had to be formed through the times you entered something almost right, paid the price for insufficient clarity, and decided not to repeat the former lesson. Even during doubt, a hidden part of you always knew that your journey was not completely random. This was the part that pulled you upward after every disappointment. It prevented you from truly surrendering, even when you wanted to release everything. You believed it was merely stubbornness or survival instinct. But something deeper was operating. You were still being preserved in alignment with what belongs to you. Whenever you attempted to leave that road and choose something easier but untrue, peace quickly disappeared. When you returned to truth, even while circumstances remained difficult, stillness returned like a reminder that you had not lost your direction. I want you to distinguish perseverance from stubbornness. Alignment does not demand that you continue knocking upon every closed door. Sometimes faithfulness means remaining. At other times, it means leaving without resentment. You do not have to preserve a plan merely because you invested many years in it. You do not need to continue a relationship simply because you placed great hope within it. I am teaching you to recognize when to persist and when to accept redirection. Both require courage, because standing firm through difficulty is hard, but releasing something you once loved is not easier. There is an appointed time for what has been prepared, and you lived for a long time within the tension between a promise you sensed and a result you could not yet see. That middle place is often the most uncomfortable. You know something is coming, but do not know when. You sense you are being led somewhere new, while still awakening each day within old circumstances. Many people return to what is familiar because they cannot endure uncertainty. Yet you remained long enough to be changed. This does not mean that every delay comes from a mysterious cause, but within your journey, much of the waiting was used to prepare you for what you requested. Because your breakthrough carries meaning beyond yourself, you needed to learn how to carry it without losing humility. You are being prepared to manage resources, without allowing resources to manage you, to possess influence without becoming dependent upon attention, and to help others without turning yourself into the rescuer of everyone. You need a form of wisdom that comfort could not produce. You needed to understand scarcity so that later you would not despise those in need. You needed to understand loneliness so that when many people approach, you will still recognize sincerity. You needed to pass through misunderstanding so that praise would not become the source from which you measure your value. For this reason, simplicity could not form everything that needed to be built within you. An easy road might have brought you somewhere quickly, but it might not have helped you remain steady after arriving. I am not concerned only with whether you touch the outcome. I am concerned with the person you become while holding it. If success arrives before you understand boundaries, you may be used. If abundance comes before you are healed from the need to prove your worth, you may exhaust it in search of recognition. If the relationship you desire comes before you learn not to abandon yourself, you may call dependence love. I do not want what was given as a blessing to become a new prison. A movement is beginning now, although you may notice it only through very small signs. Certain things that once caused panic no longer possess enough power to disturb you in the same way. People who once made you question yourself are gradually losing influence over you. You are beginning to understand why certain doors closed and to feel gratitude for some things you prayed for but did not receive. The first change does not always appear in circumstances. It often appears in the way you respond to circumstances. When something that once caused you to collapse now causes you only to pause, observe, and choose more wisely, this is evidence that you have entered a new level of maturity. Do not rush, simply because you sense everything shifting. Continue doing well with what is in your hands. Do not run ahead of timing, because you fear an opportunity will disappear. What is right will not require you to exchange all your peace merely to possess it. Observe doors that open with clarity, relationships that carry consistency, and opportunities that do not force you to become false. I do not lead you through panic. Pressure that causes you to fear missing out needs to be examined, while true guidance may require courage, but still leaves an underlying peace. My child, the recent years were not a sequence of punishments. They were the process of deepening your foundation, so that your future would not collapse under the weight of what you receive. You were not forgotten in the fire. You were preserved within the fire. You did not lose everything. You were being separated from what could not continue with you. When the appointed time is complete, you will no longer look back and ask why everything had to be so difficult. You will understand that difficulty was not proof of rejection, but the place where you were prepared to enter something greater with clear eyes, steady hands, and a heart no longer easily led astray by outward brilliance. The people and circumstances moving out of harmony with you are not leaving because you have become wrong, but because a new level of maturity is being formed within you. And former things no longer possess the capacity to accompany it. Certain relationships once caused you to believe they would last forever. Certain roles seemed like responsibilities you would carry throughout your life. Certain places became so familiar that you feared you would no longer know where you belonged if you left. Yet, those things are beginning to lose their hold. Certain conversations no longer touch you as they once did. Some doors naturally close, and people who were once very near become more distant without a dramatic event. You may feel loss, yet at the same time you recognize a growing relief. This is a sign of transition. The old is leaving, so that you no longer need to live within a structure too narrow for who you are now. I know this change sometimes leaves you confused. You look around and wonder why everything cannot remain the same. Why what once delighted you now makes you tired, and why you can no longer pretend to be satisfied with what you previously accepted. My beloved child, this is not instability. You are simply seeing more clearly. Discernment makes it impossible for you to remain comfortably in places where your heart must continually make itself smaller. You no longer want to preserve a relationship merely because you fear loneliness, nor are you willing to protect a situation quietly consuming your peace. Something within you still grieves what once existed. But a more mature part understands that not everything accompanying you in the old season is permitted to enter the new. The weight is being removed from your shoulders, not because your life will never contain challenges again, but because you are no longer the same person standing before those challenges. Things that once caused you to lose direction for many days can now slow you only briefly. Words that easily made you doubt your value no longer hold the same authority. You learned to distinguish between the voice of truth and the noise of fear, between a door requiring perseverance and one that only keeps you within an exhausting cycle. You are stronger, not because you no longer feel pain, but because you no longer allow pain to direct every choice. You are steadier, not because every question has been answered, but because even without complete understanding, you know you do not need to return to where you lost yourself. The fire that tested you is also revealing the goodness formed within you. Others may see only the months when you endured, but I see patience that was refined, wisdom that took root, and courage that grew through every decision to rise again. No tear is useless if it teaches you what deserves to be preserved and what must be released. No closed door is completely wasted if it prevents you from continuing into a place that would exhaust you. What you overcame is becoming the foundation for what will be given. That foundation was not constructed through praise, but through the days when no one saw you, and you still continued doing what was right. From this foundation, new opportunities will begin appearing gently. You may not recognize them immediately because they will not arrive with great noise or display. An ordinary conversation may open a new direction. Someone you meet in a simple circumstance may become a bridge to a place you never imagined reaching. An ability you had forgotten may become useful at the exact moment it is needed. A door you stopped knocking upon may open from the other side without your forcing it. I want you to notice small but consistent changes, because many great turning points begin through movements that are almost hidden. The relationships around you will also change. Some people will leave because they know how to connect only with the version of you who remained silent and continually yielded. Some may return with another attitude after realizing that you can no longer be defined by their perception. New people will also appear who do not demand endless explanations in order to understand you, do not exhaust you through ambiguity, and do not treat your depth as a burden. Do not chase someone who is leaving merely to prove that you still deserve to be kept. What belongs to the new season will not require you to diminish your dignity in order to preserve it. Allow the consistency of others to show whether they possess enough maturity to walk beside you. I also want you to understand that elevation rarely begins with applause. It usually appears through peace, through the way you handle something that once caused panic, through the ability to say no without guilt, and through the decision not to return to places that feel familiar but no longer fit. Eventually, the inner change will become so clear that others cannot ignore it. Those who once misunderstood your silence will recognize that it was not weakness. Those who dismissed what you endured will begin seeing the depth born through those days. Those who overlooked your growth will sense new stability in the way you walk, speak, and choose. You do not need to prove anything to them. When a tree has reached its season, it does not need to argue that it bears fruit. The fruit speaks. The peace upon your face, the boundaries within the way you live, and the clarity within your decisions will speak instead of explanations. Some people may regret that they underestimated you, but do not make their regret your reward. The true reward is that you no longer need their recognition to understand how far you have traveled. You will look back and realize that you are no longer someone continually asking others for permission to believe in yourself. Remember this: you were never behind, simply because your journey was longer. You were never forgotten, because the result did not appear within your preferred time. You were not being punished merely because certain seasons required you to walk through scarcity, misunderstanding, or loneliness. You were being prepared for a moment, requiring a perseverance that easy roads could not create. The place you are entering will require the discernment you learned, the courage refined within you, and the ability to stand without depending upon approval. Had everything arrived too early, you may have received the opportunity without possessing enough steadiness to preserve it. Therefore, when a new awareness begins rising within you, do not dismiss it too quickly. Allow it to settle in peace. Transition is not only happening around you, it begins in the way you see yourself. You no longer call another person's departure proof that you are not good enough. You no longer interpret delay as evidence that everything has ended. You are beginning to understand that certain losses are creating space. Certain endings are protecting the future, and certain silent periods are allowing you to hear again the truthful voice that remained covered for too long. I am leading you out of the season of constant survival and into the season of building. You do not need to carry every wound as a reminder that danger is always near. Keep the lesson, but release the tension. Preserve discernment without closing your heart. Remember what you endured, but do not allow the past to become the place where you continue living. The old season completed its work. It made you stronger, clearer, and mature enough to recognize what truly belongs. My beloved child, the elevation taking place is not intended to position you above others, but to place you correctly within your own purpose. What is coming will require everything you have become. Gentleness no longer joined to naivete, courage that does not need to be loud, wisdom that does not rush to judge, and faith no longer shaken by every small change. Continue walking. What is leaving is opening the way. What remains is being purified. What belongs to your future is drawing near, through an order you cannot yet fully see. As everything gradually becomes clearer, you will understand that you were never abandoned. You were simply preserved in the necessary place until you became strong enough to enter what had been prepared for you.